pretty straightforward. I recommend that you consent. So before, years ago, I used to tell folks, don't worry about putting in your email here because the courts aren't emailing you anything. That all changed in 2022 because the court, at least LA County, went fully electronic as far as petition filings and judgments. It's been really great. We're getting judgments approved in 10 days, sometimes 2 days if they're really on their game. We get same day filing. So this has been a real good thing for LA County. But if you don't put your email address in here, you're never going to get copies of your filing if you're doing it by electronic service, which we recommend. So you want to put your email in here. Cell phone, we still, obviously, no one's calling. They're not using this for any particular reason. The court's never going to call you. But definitely this is email for electronic service purposes. All right, addresses. So name of petitioner, street, city, state, zip, pretty clear cut. For the respondent, you're going to want to include an address. So one issue we see is when parties don't know where their spouse is, or maybe they're in between addresses, and so they'll leave this blank, and that's a mistake. So what we recommend you do is either using the last address you knew for them, or maybe their parents' address, some address, and maybe if none, use your address. But you want to have the court, if they cannot mail documents to the respondent, if you're filing documents for later on and you're saying you've served them at a certain address, and it needs to match up with this. So you're going to want to make sure to have an address, even if it may, I'm not saying that you're putting down a wrong address, but just the last known address. Just don't leave this blank is what I'm saying. So this is more boilerplate statistical information for the court: date of marriage, date of separation. Are there children? Yes or no? If it's no, it's just no. If it's yes, how many children. This section is not mandatory. Okay. You guys can mark it, not mark it. It's not going to make a difference. If you guys agree to property and support, we don't mark it because our clients get concerned, like, oh, do we have to go to mediation? The parties agree to mediate. No, it doesn't. Mediate doesn't mean going to formal mediation. It doesn't mean you're going out and talking to the court or a mediator at court or have to hire anybody. It just means you guys agree to discuss and you're going to do this amicably. So we used to mark this box, and then our clients will say, Tim, do we have to go to mediation? And so to avoid that conversation, we just leave this blank, and you guys can do that as well. And then as far as the type of process, our clients are going to end up going through a stipulated judgment. Stipulated means an agreed settlement agreement on all issues. So we'll generally mark this, but you guys don't have to. These are, only if applicable, if but if you don't mark these, if you leave this blank, it's not going to be an issue. Do you guys need interpreters? No, or yes, if the case may be. Do you need an interpreter? No. Okay. Oh, sorry. This was I read the wrong thing to you guys. Apologize for that. Do other parties need to be joined to this action? So what that's referring to is if you guys have pensions or 401ks and they're going to be divided, those get joined to your divorce case in the future. I would just recommend you marking no at this point because it doesn't matter. We mark no in every case. I can't think of a time I've marked this yes, but we have done the quadro divisions and we have joined them, which is what this means. We have joined the pension plans to the case, and it's not an issue. It won't cause the quadros to reject. This was the interpreter. I jumped ahead. So yes or no, if that's the case, and then indicate the language. Okay, type of action. So this is usually pretty straightforward. It's just going to be, are you doing a dissolution or legal separation? Remember, it's going to be one or the other, not both. And is there minor children, or is it without minor children? And did you do for divorce, or did you do domestic partnership? Again, we're not marking both. And then you're going to mark, is this maybe filed in central, or are you filing district where one of the parties live? So what this means is if you live, say, near the Van Nuys court, or you live near the Long Beach court, or one of these satellite courts, Chatsworth, that you would mark that you're filing in the district where you live. And this applies to any other county. LA County has 7 branches, I believe, and then 1 central location, downtown LA. Some courts just have 1, even though they're big counties. It's based on population, obviously. So, but this, we're talking LA County only. The only reason you're going to use this may be filed in central district is if you live, say, in Chatsworth or Long Beach or Van Nuys or Pomona or some other city, but you want to file it in Central District, you'll mark this box, because in with LA County, everybody anywhere in the county can file it central. You're not forced to file in your local area. Now, we do this on occasion because some courthouses do not process their paperwork the same throughout the county. And I'll give you an example. So, and I'll just be explicit with you as far as who we are avoiding currently. So we are avoiding Lancaster, so Antelope Valley Court. If we have our clients from Antelope Valley, we file them in Central. Same goes for Van Nuys. Same goes for Pasadena was on our list, but they have been better. So we're talking about processing times and their ability to process documents properly, efficiently, especially with the electronic service and e-filing. We are avoiding certain courts. If it's Long Beach, we'll avoid them. Torrance, we'll kind of just, unless it's Chatsworth, I guess this is an easy way to say this, unless you're in the Chatsworth district, they're extremely proficient. They're one of the highest filing courthouses. They're the busiest when it comes to family law. I think we're already in the 800s, and as far as cases, and we're in the first month of the year. So, and then Central obviously is the busiest as far as quantity of filings with family law cases in court. So what our policy is, it's just an internal policy, is if you're in Chatsworth, we're going to file you in Chatsworth. If you're in any other location, we are going to file you in Central. And it's just because the process is much better and more seamless with these courts. So again, not to belabor that, but that's how you fill that portion out. And then on page 3, nothing is really ever going into this section here. Declaration of assignment. And this is where it's going to trick you up a little bit, because you're not going to know what these are. So let me just take the 2 minutes to go over what this is. Downtown Court, even though it's called Stanley Mosque, is considered central. North Valley is Chatsworth. So if you're dialing in North Valley or